Hello everybody and welcome back to another session with me. And if you're joining me for the very first time, I'm Jaspreet. I've noticed how I've not done this enough probably whilst I've been vlogging. So I'm Jaspreet and I am on a journey like a lot of people in this world. But my journey around doing this YouTube vlogging is, I guess, first and foremost, sharing experiences. I have decided to take myself down a route of coaching. I'm calling it coaching at the moment because I don't know what else it could be for me. So I've literally launched a website beginning of October. Earlier this year, I did some somatic coaching course training, and I've been on a 2-year journey of letting go of a lot of the labels that I attached myself to, thinking that this is who I am, but deep down inside knowing that this isn't really who I am, and finally having the courage to do something about it. And that's in a nutshell who I am, what this is about. And I basically sit for about 15-20 minutes a week and share with anyone that wants to hear what my latest experience has been on my journey. So if that's something that interests you, feel free to subscribe. And if it doesn't, I'm sorry it doesn't, but thank you for tuning in and wishing you all the best with your journey. So that's a little bit about me. I think the reason why I felt like I wanted to do that this time round, a little bit formal from my front, if you've watched any of my other blogs, I keep calling them blogs today, blogs, is because I really felt excited about sharing my workspace. It could be because it's changed, but I just felt like this desire to let you in a little bit more on how things look my end. So I thought I would just get a bit excited about that and share. And I'll just take the tripod. I'm going to switch the view so you can see what I'm talking about, hopefully, if it's going to let me. Oh, maybe it won't, but I'll just switch around like this and kind of just give you a bit of a tour of what I'm talking about here. So I don't know why my screen has decided to do what it's doing, but hopefully you can see the space that I'm referring to. So that's my new workspace. I say mine. These things aren't even really mine. The laptop is mine, the whiteboard is mine, but the screen, which just so happens to have my website on it, didn't plan that one, did I? The screen, the keyboard, the desk even, and the chair are new additions in our lives. And they've come about because my husband's wonderful company that he works for have funded money towards their workspace, and he picked out these items, and we finally created an actual formal area to work from in our tiny flat in London. So it's kind of exciting. Like, this has been like the most different thing that's happened since we've been living here. And no, this is going to sound really sad to some people, but we've been living in this flat for the last 3 years and we haven't really changed a lot about it. And during lockdown, I had created a makeshift kind of space. I mean, I have a desk behind me, if you can see that, but it's not really allowed me to sprawl out like I am on this space. And as you could have seen from the screen, that desk behind me doesn't really allow that. And like, yeah, like I feel like I finally have a place that I can be a bit more creative in, and I just wanted to like let you in on that. There is something, isn't there, about creating an environment around you that helps you to be the creative person that we all are deep down inside. But for whatever reason, it's only really happened now, and funnily enough, it kind of just seems to be aligning really nicely with where I'm at with developing my business, developing the kind of coach I want to be going forward. So yeah, like I really feel for anyone out there who's working from a tiny space, because I know what that's like, and renting, so making do with what you have. But I have to say, like, when the time is right, when it feels good, definitely invest more in your work environment, because it does bring this shift in terms of how, like, seriously you're starting to take yourself. Because I'm noticing that. And this space, as I mentioned in my vlog last week, is also where I do my part-time job from. So it's nice to have, because we're dealing with lots of systems, etc. It's nice to have a bigger screen to do that from. And the bigger screen is also going to be really useful for like editing any video editing that I want to do. So yeah, I just wanted to start from there today and just be like, oh, I've got a new work area, whoop whoop. And it's shared and it's owned partly by my husband. But yeah, so a bit of kind of childishness coming out. And then I think one of the things that I wanted to share this week was as I said, I've been doing a part-time job for this was my 4th week. And Tuesday, so I work Monday to Wednesday on that job. And then I have the rest of the week to use in a more intuitive way, and maybe less structured way, and more allowing the creativity side of me to come out to do the work I want to do around my coaching. And so Tuesday came around this week, and like the evening, I just found myself like really slow, and my body just felt really kind of heavy. There probably was something to do with not eating properly, maybe, or not having enough food during the day and not drinking enough water. I think that was one aspect of it, but having talked to my husband about it and having done my own reflection a little bit, I think the reason why I had that kind of evening was because my body was telling me that even though I think I'm okay, you know, like I'm adjusting to this new routine that I've brought into my life intentionally, even though I think I'm all good, like getting up quite early, like earlier for me, like since I have for the last couple of years at least, you know, squeezing in a bit of yoga, squeezing in a walk, a dog walk before I start work. Even though I've got this drive to be doing all those things, my body was then going, whoa, slow down. You need to slow down. And I didn't realise until I had this strange episode on Tuesday. And then it kind of made me take a step back. But just to say a little bit more about the episode, what I wanted to say was I also fell into this trap of being a hypochondriac, and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Why am I feeling like this? Why is my body being like this? And then anxiety came in as well around why I'm feeling like this. And this is not like me, like generally speaking, touch wood, things are pretty awesome health-wise. So, and I tend to take it to the extreme. So I started imagining having to go into A&E during this lockdown period and having tests done on me and people not really knowing what's going on. Like, yeah, I'm going to be honest and not ashamed to admit that I do have this tendency in me to think the worst. So there was learning from that aspect as well. And I have to say, like, because I'm with my husband and he's the only person that I can compare how I react to things and how I deal with things and how he does. What I learned from him that day was that thinking the worst isn't always the best thing, clearly. So, yeah, like, trying not to, at least, to fall into that mentality that things are worse than they actually are. So adding that extra layer of anxiety around a situation that doesn't necessarily need to be anxious. So yeah, like, that was that. But I think the key thing that I wanted to share is that going through change, big or small, has some kind of domino effect and some knock-on effect. And from a mental space, you may think that you've got this and you can get through it and you can make all these parts of your life come together how you want them to come together, and you know, you've got this utopian view and you want to, like, meet that, and you know, you want to live that idealistic way of living. And as much as, you know, you have that faith that you can do this, my learning from that was still be gentle with yourself. Still find time to listen to what actually is going on deep down, like below the mental level. And perhaps I missed the cues as the weeks went on, and I just carried on, you know, I can do this, because as I said in my last vlog, I want the masculine to start supporting my feminine energy. So I created this meaning around it, but what I missed was, how is my body going to be able to provide the support I need it to provide? And where was the conversation with the body? And unfortunately, it all caught up with me and I had to slow down. And I am going to say, good for me for slowing down, because I think there have been times in my life when I've just carried on regardless and things have got worse. So I did listen when the body spoke and I took time out. So the next day was a working day. Had a lie-in, didn't get up because the plan was to go out for a walk first thing. Had a lie-in and just took things at a slower pace and let people know at work. I might have to log off earlier today, depending on how I feel. But as the day went on, I started feeling better. And then I went into Thursday, which is a non-working day. And for half the day, I decided to, again, continue this slowness, this gentleness, and just go with that kind of slower pace. And yeah, and I have to say, what I've noticed is that I've been able to then bounce back more quicker than not having taken that space and slowed myself down. So yeah, I just felt really wanted to talk about that, because, you know, for whatever reason, especially with the time that we're going through, there's a different rhythm, as I said in my last vlog, that people are finding, and it's important to be engaging with that rhythm and noticing the subtleties of that rhythm. So if the body is like, ooh, can't do that, struggling here, just breathe, I'm learning to adapt to this message, the flags that are coming up. You know, whether you're returning to work after a period of unemployment, or whether you've been unemployed and now you're taking yourself into employment again, being mindful that regardless of whether you're returning from, I don't know, like you know, like you've taken time out like I had, or whether it's for a different reason, but just to be really like, oh, this is actually quite a shift for me. And not to underestimate, I think that's one of the biggest learnings, was that I underestimated how much of a change this is going to be for my routine. So if you're in that situation, to really want to speak to that, if you're going through some kind of shift, it's so important to just take space, and as much as you feel like you can run into things and be like, yeah, I've got this, I can do this, because it's like, this is, especially when it's an intentional thing like it was for me, that's great. But remember to have those conversations with your body, and to notice when your body's actually saying slow down, and to slow down, to really honour the signs. And yeah, like that flag that I refer to. So yeah, I felt like that was an important learning for me this week. And since I've taken myself through that learning, I'm feeling more, next week I'm going to continue with this learning, this engagement, and I am going to promise myself to check in and be like, how are you today? How are you feeling? Do you need this lie-in? Do you need a little bit of a longer lunch break? Do you need maybe not to go on that walk, as nice as you find walks? Because I've really started enjoying my walks over the last few years. Sometimes you've got to just, it's hard. It's a real fine line, because you think that walk might help, or, you know, another activity, but it's that just check-in. It's that check-in of, if I don't go today, it's not such a bad thing. I've always got tomorrow. I've always got the rest of this week. I don't need to be doing. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share on that front. And one other little thing that I'm kind of feeling like I want to talk about briefly is that I feel like I'm entering this kind of, in terms of my business and my coaching coaching journey, I'm entering like a phase of creativity, and I feel like something's bubbling in me to create something, and that something feels like it might be a program. And I'm kind of like, like, as you can see in my mannerisms, there's like this little giddy girl, playful girl that's starting to come out, and I've noticed that that's going on for me, and there is this energy to want to do this. So I think I'm not going to say more than that, but just that something is brewing, and I'm looking forward to putting something together. And if you've been following me on my journey so far, and you think that you're at this place of transition and shift, just to keep watching my space a bit more, because I'm sure I'll start talking about it once I get things off the ground. So yeah. Right, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for coming along and listening to me rabbit away about something in my week. I hope it was helpful for you, and I hope you continue to join me on my journey of exploration. And enjoy your weekend. Enjoy maybe some inwardness this weekend as the days start drawing in a bit more, the weather starts shifting. Maybe it's time to just delve in and go a bit deeper with that breath and with the sirens in the background. It's like as if I planned them. I will leave you, love you and leave you, and catch up with you next week. Thank you for being here. Bye.